Hey guys, it's Nicole, and I just wanted to do a somewhat quick video sort of sharing where I'm at the end of January as far as what layouts I got done and where I'm at in that Simple Stories collection that I am sort of challenging myself to work through. I didn't really call it like a kill a kit or anything like that because I feel like once I label it and once I like say I'm gonna do something, that's when I fail. So I'm just kind of loosely challenging myself to that. Pretty much everything that I've done so far has been with our family photos from 2019 and the whole picture volume 2 sketchbook from Scrapbook Generation. You guys know I love their sketches, in particular the ones that you don't really need to resize your photos, other than sometimes I'll put more than one photo on a 4x6 canvas, but you're still working with 4x6 prints. And for whatever reason, my printer chose to print it double-sided, which normally I don't, because sometimes I will pull a sketch, put it with some stuff, and then like kind of make my own little kits with them. And when it's double-sided, that kind of makes it a little bit more difficult. But for this, it's working. I may decide to go ahead and print a second copy that's not double-sided to put in my sketch binder, and then just kind of keep this one together, but I don't know. We'll see. So January, I only did the 4 layouts, and when I say the 4 layouts, I almost every year participate in this challenge where basically you do, in a sense, a layout a week, or you can do 4 layouts in a month based on your schedule. Like you don't have to do a layout a week, but basically by the end of the month you need to have posted 4 layouts in order to stay in, and everybody puts a little bit of money into a pool, and at the end they draw winners and you get a gift card to like an online scrap store. I have never won, but some of my friends have, and it's just kind of a fun way to motivate yourself to continue creating. And it's only January through October, so you do get, 2 months kind of a break to sort of either just not make anything or reset yourself. So January, I only got my 4 layouts done. I had intended on trying to get a couple UFOs done where basically it's layouts that are maybe missing journaling or, embellishments, or they're somewhere in the process of basically not being complete. And I have a whole drawer full that I need to work through. So I might try to go ahead and focus on some of those for February, but we'll see. And these all have a process video, so if you are current on my channel, you have seen these. This was the last one, and I'm sorry, there is going to be a glare because I've got filming lights turned on, so sorry. Can't really do anything about it. I don't have a diffuser situation, so it is what it is. Don't leave hate in the comments, okay? This, like I had said in this video, by the time I've used this Simple Stories collection, 3, this being the 4th layout, I'm starting to get a little like I've already used my favorite patterns, or I've already used my favorite die cuts, I've already used my sort of favorite go-to pieces from the collection. So, how do I sort of not necessarily reinvent the collection, but how do I kind of reignite that spark of I want to use the things? And for me, I tend to bring out my favorite basics, and I mentioned them in the video. A lot of my favorite basics are things like the Polaroid dies from my favorite things. These are still available. They're pierced square stacks. The pierced ones are not available. The stitched ones are available. Pretty much the same thing. These are available. They're just sold out on every website I could find. These are the Lawn Fawn hearts. So if you know Lawn Fawn, you know their heart shape, and it's my favorite, and it's very similar to the heart shape that Simple Stories uses a lot. So it worked out great. And then my absolute favorite 3x4 die from my favorite things, which is retired, can't find it, hoping they bring it back. And I get comments on this all the time. Yes, you can take a notebook border and punch the top, you can round the corners. I've done it before. Yes, there are ways to make it work for you. What I'm saying is when I get bored and when I bring out my favorite supplies, this in particular is my favorite supply, and the only reason that I mention it being sold out is because I get some not nice comments about other solutions. Yes, there are other solutions. Yes, I have used those other solutions, but for the sake of explaining why I pulled it out, I'm explaining that it's more of a way for me to get re-inspired to use these same supplies. So by doing that is I pull out my favorite tools. I don't care if they're 10 years old or if I bought them 10 minutes ago. So soapbox down. And then this U shape is from a Simon Says stamp. Yeah, I think you can buy the individual die, but I bought it as a whole bundle where there's a background stamp, stamp set, and a die. I just really like it. I think it is a good size to be able to use on layouts. And then what I end up doing, I don't know if you guys will be able to see, is I cut it out 3-4 times out of white cardstock and basically make a chipboard shape, which kind of brings back in some of the elements that I'm using from the collection. And I did the same thing with the hearts and the Polaroid frame that I made. And then this was just a scrap of grid paper that I have with my journaling scraps and a stamp. So I basically made my own embellishment. Because like I said, this collection, I think when you look at it really quickly online, you're like, yes, I love it. It's family themed. I'm going to buy it. And then you get it and you start looking at it and you're like, whoa, 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 hold on. There's a whole lot of houses and a whole lot of chairs. Like, what am I going to do with the chairs and the houses? So I'm still, I have some plans for that, but I'm still focused on these photos. So again, I'm trying to find workarounds from sort of those themes in the collection. So again, this was layout number 4. There is a process video for it. These, I don't know if I have these in order. So this one's either 2 or 3. Either way, they're the most recent videos on my channel. And again, this is a sketch from the Whole Picture Volume 2. I'll put a link below where you can find the sketchbook. You can either order one that they have printed with like a glossy cover, or you can, for I think $1 less, you get the ebook version, so you can print it however you want. You can print it to where you have 2 sketches on a page and, you know, save your ink and stuff like that. But again, this is an example of me going for my favorite patterns in the collection. So some of these are the ones that I'm getting low on. I am trying to remind myself not to save pieces for something else. Like I'm trying to remember, like, there's a ton of embellishments, put them on there. So again, I'm a big fan of cutting things in half and being able to stretch it for 2 layouts. Tucking things. So again, these sketches are good basics because you're using full-size photos. You don't have a whole lot of room to put like big giant die cuts or big, you know, things of pattern paper and stuff. So it's a lot of things like this where you're kind of doing a little bit of visual interest around these big photos, and those are the sketches that I tend to gravitate towards. So this, I think it goes this way, yeah. And this one I specifically picked because of this element on the sketch, because I knew that it was going to be a good area for me to use up a bunch of die cuts and little pieces of pattern paper. So I just used some circle punches to kind of, you know, make my own die cuts to kind of beef up what was in the pack. And then I used, because it came with the chipboard, and normally I won't buy the chipboard, but I went ahead and sort of tried to make myself remember to use the chipboard. So I got the chipboard title, 2 chipboard hearts, and then a chipboard, no, that's not chipboard, that's a sticker. I don't think I used, no chipboard on this side. I think the chipboard is the one that I'm probably going to end up with the most leftover pieces, just because I tend to not go super bulky. So we'll see, I guess, how much of that I have left at the end. And then this one was the first one that I did this year, and it was for our 2020 YouTube collab. Unfortunately, right after I took my pictures, I dropped my camera on the layout, so now I have like a black smudgy thing there, so I need to order a like sanding eraser and see if I can get that off. But again, this was where I pulled out those My Favorite Things square dies to make sure everything's gonna line up. I was cutting my die cuts in half to make them stretch, and you know, using the things that I like. I typically go to my favorite elements when I start using a collection pack, and then I end up with stuff that I don't like at the end, which is fine. It's kind of like you eat your favorite food first and you leave the green beans last. Like, it is what it is. So the collection that I'm using is So Happy Together from Simple Stories, and this is the collection kit where it's gonna give you 12 sheets of pattern paper, the 12 by 12 sticker sheet, a pack of die cuts, and a pack of chipboard. And with this collection, I noticed something that they were doing differently, and I don't know how long ago they changed this because I haven't really been shopping, but it used to be that these cut apart elements were double-sided. Now they have the cut apart element with a full pattern on the back, and that kind of bothers me because normally when there's a cut apart, I can kind of pick between which cut apart is on the front or the back that I want to use or cut from or fussy cut. When there's a full-size pattern and it's a full-size pattern that I like, it makes it harder for me to figure out how I'm going to use that paper. I feel like, I mean, Simple Stories isn't going to email me and say, hey, which one of these patterns do you like the least? And we're going to put that one on the back of the cut aparts. Like, that's never going to happen. But in my mind, I'm like, oh no, like, why couldn't, like, the black and white polka dot, for whatever reason, not feeling it. Why couldn't that be on the back of one of these? So you'll see here in a second, pretty much like the papers that I'm left with, you can tell are the ones that I'm not as drawn to. And I don't know, I just think it's weird because typically their collection kits I absolutely love, and if I don't like one side, usually the back side I'm like all over. And then there used to be a second sticker sheet where you had a large alpha, 2 small alphas, and like all these little like phrase stickers. So I kind of wish that they had sort of maybe either cut back on some of the images and done like a small alphabet. And then there's no tiny stickers. There used to be like tiny hearts or tiny stars in between everything, and I noticed that that's not on here. So it seems like they have revamped sort of what you get in a collection. So now that I know that, I'm going to probably look a little closer when I'm ordering Simple Story stuff and maybe cherry pick the specific papers that I like and kind of build my own collection out of it. So with that being said, I thought it'd be fun to just kind of go through and see what I have left. I have most of the sticker sheet left. I did use the giant family, one of the hearts, and one of the flowers. Everything else is still here. Mostly just because the images on here weren't matching up with like the feel of the photos. Of like a basket with a book and a vase to me doesn't make sense to have with pictures of my family outside at a park. That's just where my brain goes. I've seen amazing videos on YouTube where people just don't really focus that much on what the actual sticker looks like. They're just kind of going with, you know, clusters and color and stuff like that, and it ends up being amazing. For me, my brain doesn't work like that, so I'm not going to force myself into using things that I'm like, why am I going to put a chair when we're standing in the grass? Like, you got to go with what you like and not necessarily have to explain it either. I have managed to use, looks like 6 of these phrases and like 4 of the little tabs. These are things that I normally gravitate towards, so that's easy. This border strip I already know I'm going to end up using at some point because Scrapbook Generation sketches are almost always having some kind of a decorative border somewhere. I've just been saving it for one that wasn't these style sketches where it's kind of a double-sided thing where I would need 2. As far as my papers go, I think I only have one. This is the only one that I have a full-size sheet of. This like dark pinky floral, and then this like mint floral bundle thing. What's this called? Time Together. It's just not my favorite, but I'm probably going to end up using this one on the photos of my daughter by herself because it does come across as feminine and it's pink. So again, not surprised that this is the one that I have left as a full size. And then sort of going down in size, these are the ones that I would say are probably my absolute favorite type of patterns. So of course these are what's left and what I've been more careful about cutting. And then again, these are the sides that I would normally not go to. This is a little bit too busy for me in this size. The cut aparts, not really, I don't know, just not really working with my photos. And then this one, I don't know, I wasn't feeling it. And I think it's just because there's so many house elements in the stickers and the chipboard and the die cuts that the paper was just kind of overkill for me. So again, these are the ones that I'm almost rationing out per layout because these are my favorites. These, I like a tone on tone, I like a stripe that brings in the colors of the collection, and I love a text. So these are the ones where I'm kind of taking like a sliver of and being able to include in each page and being, you know, able to kind of include those. And then the next biggest one I have is this, again, this dark pink with the polka dot. And then I really like the aqua gingham. I do wish that they, like this one. These are so similar that I kind of wish that they would have taken the yellow and done like a different type of tone on tone with this one. Just because to me, I don't like using them side by side like this. So it just kind of makes it a little, And again, the big floral, I don't know. These are the ones I tend to go towards, I guess you would say the B side, the stuff that's more muted, more tone on tone. I just wish that in a collection like this, they wouldn't have done 2 ginghams. So then I have pretty much a big chunk of this. I don't think I've used any of the actual like cut apart elements. I'm pretty sure I just used it for this side, which not my favorite, but if it's going to be going behind photos or behind like a bigger element, it's fine. It's basically the wood grain in the back with the florals on top. And I don't think any of these I would actually use because, like, yes, this would be a good title for the specific photos that I'm using, but the sticker sheet, the chipboard, and the die cut pack all had basically the same type of title, so I don't really need it on here. Again, with the houses and stuff like that, and then this is repeated within all the other elements to where I have either a sticker or a die cut or a piece of chipboard that says the exact same thing. So I pretty much have just been using it for this. This wood grain, I am absolutely hoarding. Like, the tiniest little pieces that have come off of this, I have used for banners on my son's layout. I die cut hearts out of the scraps. Like, I was using every little piece that I had already sort of cut off and used from before I went back and cut anything out of here. Then I've got a good chunk of this like dark navy. Again, not my favorite pattern, but it does come across as almost like a solid, so it's good to mix in with the lighter colors. Not a fan of this. It's just like a bunch of frames hanging up. And again, I think it's just because I'm not a big fan of busy A-sides, so you go with what you like. You know what you like and go with it. And then I just have a lot of these like smaller pieces that I die cut the title from. This is pretty much, I think, all that I have left of. This would have been the 3x4 cards on one side and then the like plaid on the other. The only one I think I saved to potentially use as a card is this one. The other ones I just went ahead, sliced through, and was like, you know what, I don't care. I'm just going to use this for basically a multiple color thing, similar to like using a stripe. Again, I left this one thinking maybe, but again, it's just that pattern on the back. And then the black and white with the yellow, I basically took the middle, so it had like a floral print on either corner, and I just sliced through the middle and used that one on my son's page and then cut a Polaroid out of it. So that's probably what I'm going to keep doing, is I'm just going to be using this to die cut things and get a yellow element out of it. And then by the time I get down here to where this floral is, I'll just use the black and white. Couple more pieces again of this dark blue that's good for die cutting. And then I have not been throwing away the branding strips, because if you've used a Scrapbook Generation sketch, you know that there are instances where they will have either banner pieces or just like little strips of paper tucked in here and there, and these are perfect. So I have used these, and basically you get one pattern on either side, so by the time you've cut into it, you basically have like a 6x ½ inch strip. So I kept them because, again, a lot of these are my favorite patterns that I've already used. So that's it as far as paper and the sticker sheet, and then everything else I'm just keeping out here in this little basket. I've pulled out dies and stamps that I want to have access to again to kind of keep me liking this collection. And then if you saw my Workspace Wednesday video where I was talking about marker storage, these are the drawer inserts. So I've just been using them as like little dishes. So again, I have been die cutting out of pieces even like this small because I love the pattern and I don't want to cut into that big piece. So I'm keeping stuff like this in here. Again, branding strip, like it's perfect for cutting, tucking in, making labels, whatever. Again, like I said, I've got a ton of the chipboard left over. So I'm not sure how much of this I'm going to end up using. I have some ideas as far as photos that I can use to try and figure out a way of doing like the chairs and the house. And I think the books was kind of throwing me off too. So I do kind of have some ideas as far as that. And then there are some pattern paper in here. This was that big sheet that was all 2x2s that I made my album opening layout with. And then the back is this triangle. I hate it. I'm not using the triangle. So basically I'm keeping this in order to use for like small elements, or I can even come in here and take like small punches and punch out hearts or elements with just like the background color. That's fine. I don't care. So I think that's it for those. So yeah, I'm just kind of keeping like different strips of paper and stuff, and then I just go digging in here. But this was one die cut pack, and I swear it's never ending. And I'm not gonna change my style for the sake of using up an entire die cut pack. That's fine. I feel like I'm kind of like a medium level embellisher. Like I like a good dose of stuff, but I'm not just gonna put stuff on a page for the sake of putting it on the page. This is more of like how far, like how many layouts can I get out of all of this? Now, had I thought about this a little bit more, again, I would have bought the basic paper pack that matched this collection to beef up my paper a little bit more. So I think I'm just gonna try, I've got maybe 3 more layouts kind of mentally planned of what I want to do and what I want to use. I think when I get to that point, I'm going to do sort of another kit reset, figure out what I've got left, and then I might give myself the option to say, okay, why don't you go through your Simple Story stuff and find, you know, 3 sheets of paper that sort of match this line and keep going with the materials. So that, I think, is pretty much it as far as this is what I've accomplished in January. This is where I'm at with this collection kit. And I don't know, maybe leave me a comment down below if you like seeing these types of videos, like if you like seeing sort of what we challenge ourselves to use and sort of how we get through them. Some of my favorite videos on YouTube used to be ones where people would get like a Hip Kit Club subscription every month and they would destroy that kit. Like they would use it up to where they had like, this would be like what they had left at the end of the kit, and I was like, you're amazing, like I can't believe that you just got 30 layouts out of a kit like that. So in my mind I'm like, okay, some of those channels don't post those videos anymore, so I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna challenge myself to it, see how it goes, and take you guys along on the train wreck. So as always, I thank you guys for stopping by, spending a little bit of time with me, and I enjoy chatting down below with you guys. So leave me any questions you have, any encouragement, and I will catch you guys next time.